Welcome back. So I have another busy day today, but I thought I'd get this cranking out at least. X10 Plugin. I gotta go coach 10-year-olds at soccer practice tonight, but thought I would just chime in here. So X10, I use it heavily, like I said. X10, for those that don't know, it's a protocol that travels through your electrical line. Noise can create interference and inconsistencies. So with that, you also have house addresses A through P, 1 through 16. So that's how many devices you can have, not physically, but how many addresses you can address. So you could put, say, B5. You could put 10 items on that, but they will all turn on together. So one thing you could use like A 1 and then through 16, B 1 through 16, and stop there and have a lot of other letters open. What I like doing is mapping things out. As you see on my screen right now, this is my second floor, master bath, master bedroom, laundry room, my foyer, kids' bathroom. So you pretty much just got to map it out and know what you have. And what I like doing about with this for is I like keeping a certain consistency. Now my basement's where it gets tough with my consistency. So I have 4 switches down there. Right here is a 3-way, but I have 5 lights on this first section, 4 on this section, and 2 in the back. And I always use 10 for lighting and 15 and 16 for my motion sensor, because the motion sensors have a darkness sensor, which will grab the second number. So if you assign 15 for motion, it automatically takes 16. So with that, because I have more lights, I can't just use 10. That's the other thing I like about doing. So here's my crawl space. C10. Basement, B10. Foyer, F10. Garage, G10. Yeah, little consistencies I try and keep that I can if I, when I can. So, I write it all down, jot it all down. So 15, 16, motion darkness, 10 lights. Yeah, and you just got to work with what you have. I'm not going to add any more X10. I do have a lot. I'm not going to remove either. As stuff goes, I've had 2 light switches go bad. I put other X10 light switches in because I do have spares. I'm going to start putting Z-Wave in. Now, so that's my layout. Close these out. Here's my controller. It's a TI-103. Which, as you see, I have on COM4, so I have to remember that when I install the plugin. X10, like I said, noise, microwaves, TVs, power supplies, surge protectors, battery backups can create noise, which can really wreak havoc. One of the devices I purchased that really made my X10 solid was this guy right here. Basically what it does is, I'm in the US and I have a 2-phase panel. This will do a 3-phase. It's a repeater. So the way the panel works, it's 2 legs of 110. So let's say the address that gets generated on A, the first channel, let's say it's G10. Well, sometimes it can't bounce across to the other side, which is where the device may actually be. So I'm trying to control, but it's jumping through the panel but can't jump. So what this does is this device will actually receive it in, and once it receives it in, it then broadcasts it out on all 3 legs because it will do three phases. This made me go from like 70% rock solid to 95, 99%. So this is a must in my setup. And like I said, here's my controller, nothing fancy. You plug it in into a serial port. So let's go ahead and go. As I stated, we do everything from here. From the plugins, we're right here. And because I have Pro, it's included. Well, most of these are included in general. So we'll download and install. Okay, it shows up. So we choose our COM port, which is 4. We enable it. It's starting. Okay, it says OK. We go to X10 Config. Here, let's say you only use C, D, and E. They tell you don't use A because, as an example, a motion sensor or my light switches, they'll default to A1. if the batteries die. So let's say I got batteries that are getting really weak in my motion sensors. They may reset to A1 and I can't figure out where they're coming from, what the issue is. If I have a light set to A1, that could get tripped. So even though I do use A, I use 10, 15, 16. I might use a couple other numbers, but in A I won't. So here you can disable some codes. You could change the baud rate. I leave it alone. The one thing I did find is when I was on Homeseer 2, this value was a lot lower than default. Default is 4,000, which is 4 seconds. I changed it to 200 and it seems to do better. You can log. There's really nothing else to do once you choose your TI-103. And there's no save button. This one is what it is. So if we come back to plugins, as we see, and if we can click here, it just takes us back here. There's no other pages to configure. Now on the device page, because I was stating that I kind of have a default template, we can actually create a couple devices and see if they work. So we will do basement, we'll do stairway lights, basement, basement. Now, on the X10, you don't fill out the code. You really don't have to fill anything out. I can tell you on motion sensors, you have to be careful. I did this status only device and it breaks. It does not work. It'll break this device if it was a motion sensor. So you can look at other things. You can hide the device from views. You must configure from the X10 tab. So I actually have B 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, appliance means instant on, instant off, can't be dimmed. If we choose standard, you can dim it. Now, my light switches are the 23890W X10 toggle link two-way switches. I know preset will work with them. All right, so let's go. Find where okay, here it is. We can go back in. And you should see, we did not set this on this page, if you remember. There it is. So we'll go ahead, we'll say done. I'm going to go ahead, create another one. Front lights, basement, basement, B11, preset, done. Now we gotta pause and add a couple more, so hold on. Okay, so now with them added, like I said, because I have my standard, I threw a couple more in. I threw my garage, my hallway, and let's take a look. So we can filter by floor, room, or device type. So for this, they're all X10. So let's go ahead and filter. So here's the items I have. My hallway light, my garage light, 4 in the basement. I have lights everywhere else. The master bedroom, master bath. I have a lot of these X10 lights switches around. I got them off eBay. Somebody was clearing them. I got like 12 of them or so for like 130 bucks. So bought them all. All right, so I'm going to run around, flick all these lights. I'll be right back. Let's see if they actually work. All right, as you can see, they're all turned on. So all I did was I ran over to all the switches, turned them all on. So they're two-way switches, which means they give instant status back. Now, from here, we can dim. Actually, so let's see, my hallway will turn off. My garage will turn off. The basement, we'll dim them down. So I'm looking, everything dimmed, which is very nice. The middle lights, 75% really didn't do anything. So let's go further. There we go. I probably could set up a camera. My basement's a filthy mess. I got all my Halloween decorations out that I got to get out there. Next year I want to automate Halloween. Christmas is always automated. That's an easy one. But Halloween, there's some really cool stuff you can do. I just haven't had my home automation up for the last year and a half. So baby steps. Got to get everything going. Let's do another thing we'll do. Bring this back up. So, devices. Let's see. We'll do basement. Basement. Here's all my lights. I can click it. We can go up. We can dim them. We can say on and off. And I'm looking, and they're going. Okay. Do off on that one. Now, we will do an event. I haven't touched on events yet, so we will do basement lights. And let's see, we will do basement lights off. So you can put a name here if you wish. I'm just going to leave it basement lights if. Let's see. All right, for some reason I'm not seeing it. This is one of the things that does get me. It looks like the events changed a little bit. So I'm going to, now this was already here. Just going to take a gamble. What happens if I just delete this? All right, view, events, filtering 0 of 10 events. Why is it filtering, showing 0 of 10? That's interesting. All right, well, we'll call this basement lights. So it looks like I already have events in my database, and they're not showing up. All right, let's delete this one. We'll keep this set. We will call this. All right, basement lights off. If, see, now this is a different drop down. For some reason, I was stuck on time. So for now, we're just going to do this as a manual trigger. Now, you can do anything you want. You can have when a motion sensor, I have 4 motion sensors down here, one for each section and then one for the stairs. As each one shuts off, once all 4 of them are off, they'll trip a virtual device saying basement unoccupied, then the lights will go off. So for now though, this is going to be manual. If it's manually triggered, then control a device, and it will be basement backlights off, basement middle lights off, front lights off, and stair lights will go off. We could dim it just in case. Alright, so that's really it. I mean, you can do a lot of other things. Because as you see, this is a part of a group. You can actually apply to all these groups when something's triggered. You can do more. Say if condition in the group, and then with the group you can do whatever. For now, we're just within this is a off. Now, because it's manually triggered, you trigger it here, or we have to exit and let HS Touch read back in. Let's see, events, basement lights, off, yes. And now I'm sitting in the dark. So we'll close that because HS Touch has to read to, it's not a live connection, so it has to read all the info in to know what devices and whatnot. Now, one thing I do like is we can take this, copy this event, basement lights on. Nice and easy. On, and we'll do on. Collapse it. Let's run that. There we go. I'm looking around. All my lights are on. Now, one thing I like, I guess what you can do is you can have a dim event, as you saw was in there. Let's copy this one. Basement lights, dim, 35%. 35. 35. All right. Let's go ahead and run this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. They all dimmed. So now I want to make them all on. And they all went back up to normal. So here's some lighting events. So X10's working. It's good to go. And nothing else I need to add to it for now. I just have to run around the house and make sure all my codes are right. One thing we can do, let's try this. I do have one switch down here. I have a faceplate on it, and it's not one of these light switches. So let's turn this on. Now that I think about it, I don't think it's a two-way switch either. Let's take a look. So if I go into my log, and walk over here, it's the light underneath my basement steps. Alright, so I'm hitting it on, hitting it off, on, and off. Just a couple times. I walk back. Yep, it would show up here, but because it's not a two-way, it doesn't report back. So that is one of the things you can do when you're trying to figure out light switches is if you turn on the debugging, it should pop in. It'll have a lot of info in it, and it should tell you the house code. So sometimes I'll run around with a laptop, like with this set, which is probably what I'm going to do right now, and I'll hit switches and make sure, and I'll create the devices off it. So hope that was a quick little thing. And you'll see Z-Wave is so much nicer because my Z-Troller, when you include all the devices into the Z-Troller, all you gotta do is read the Z-Troller in and all the devices get created. It's not like this where you have to go create every device, set up the house code, all that. You don't have to do all that. So I give props to Z-Wave for that. All right.